Jeremiah. Chapter 12. You are righteous, O Jehovah, when I plead my cause with you, yet I will speak with you of your judgments. Why does the way of the wicked prosper? Why are all those who deal treacherously at ease? You have planted them, they have also taken root, they go on and bring forth fruit. You are near, in their mouth, but far from their inward parts. And you, O Jehovah, know me, you see me and try my heart toward you. Pull them out like sheep for the slaying, and set them apart for the day of slaughter. How long will the land mourn and the grass of every field dry up? Because of the wickedness of those who dwell in it, beasts and birds are swept away, because they said, He will not see our end. If you have run with footmen and they have wearied you, how then will you compete with horses? If you are secure in a land of peace, how then will you do in the majesty of the Jordan? For even your brothers and the house of your father, even they have dealt treacherously with you, even they have cried aloud after you. Do not believe them, although they speak good things to you. I have forsaken my house, I have abandoned my inheritance, I have given the beloved of my soul into the hand of her enemies. My inheritance has become to me like a lion in the forest, she lifted up her voice against me, therefore I hated her. Is my inheritance a speckled bird of prey to me? Are the birds of prey against her all around? Go, gather all the beasts of the field, bring them to devour. Many shepherds have destroyed my vineyard, they have trampled down my portion, they have made my pleasant portion a desolate wilderness. They have made it a desolation, desolate, it mourns to me, the whole land has been desolated because no one lays it to heart. Upon all the bare heights in the wilderness destroyers have come, for the sword of Jehovah devours from one end of the land to the other end of the land, no flesh has peace. They have sown wheat, and they reap thorns, they have worn themselves out, but they profit nothing. Therefore be ashamed of your produce because of the burning anger of Jehovah. Thus says Jehovah concerning all my evil neighbors, who have touched the inheritance which I caused my people Israel to inherit, I am about to pluck them up out of their land, and I will pluck up the house of Judah out from their midst. And after I have plucked them up, I will return and have compassion on them and bring them again, each one to his inheritance and each one to his land. And if they will diligently learn the ways of my people, to swear by my name, saying, As Jehovah lives, even as they taught my people to swear by Baal, they will be built up in the midst of my people. But if they do not listen, I will pluck up that nation, plucking it up and destroying it, declares Jehovah. Jeremiah. Chapter 13. Thus said Jehovah to me, Go and buy yourself a linen girdle, and put it on your loins, but do not put it in water. So I bought a girdle according to the word of Jehovah and put it upon my loins. And the word of Jehovah came to me a second time, saying, Take the girdle which you bought, which is upon your loins, and rise up, go to the Euphrates, and hide it there in a cleft of the rock. And I went and I hid it by the Euphrates, as Jehovah had commanded me. And at the end of many days Jehovah said to me, Rise up, go to the Euphrates, and take from there the girdle which I commanded you to hide there. And I went to the Euphrates and dug, and I took the girdle from the place where I had hidden it, and there the girdle was, spoiled and good for nothing. And the word of Jehovah came to me, saying, Thus says Jehovah, Even so I will destroy the pride of Judah and the great pride of Jerusalem. This evil people, who refuse to hear my words, who walk in the stubbornness of their heart and go after other gods to serve them and to worship them, will be even like this girdle, which is good for nothing. For as this girdle clings to the loins of a man, so I have caused all the house of Israel and all the house of Judah to cling to me, declares Jehovah, that they might be to me a people and a name and a praise and a glory, but they would not listen. And you shall speak to them this word, Thus says Jehovah the God of Israel, every wineskin will be filled with wine. And they will say to you, do we not know very well that every wineskin will be filled with wine? Then you shall say to them, thus says Jehovah, I am about to fill all the inhabitants of this land and the kings who sit in David's place on his throne and the priests and the prophets and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with drunkenness. And I will dash them one against the other, both the fathers and the sons together, declares Jehovah. I will not spare or pity or have compassion so as not to destroy them. Hear and give ear and do not be proud, for Jehovah has spoken. Give glory to Jehovah your God, before he brings darkness, and before your feet stumble on the twilight mountains, and you will look for light, but he will turn it into a shadow of death and make it deep darkness. And if you will not hear it, my soul will weep in secret places for your pride, and my eye will weep bitterly and shed tears, because the flock of Jehovah has been taken captive. Say to the king and to the queen mother, humble yourselves and sit down, for your beautiful crown has come down from your heads. The cities of the south have been shut up, and there is no one to open them, all Judah has been taken into exile, wholly taken into exile. Lift up your eyes, and see those who come from the north. Where is the flock that was given to you, your beautiful sheep? What will you say when he appoints over you as head those whom you yourself have trained to be your friends? Will not pains take hold of you, like those of a woman in travail? And if you say in your heart, why have these things happened to me? It is because of the greatness of your iniquity that your skirts are uncovered, that your heels suffer violence. Can the Cushite change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then you also may be able to do good, who are accustomed to do evil. Therefore I will scatter them like chaff driven by the wind of the wilderness. This is your lot, the portion measured out to you from me, declares Jehovah, because you have forgotten me and have trusted in falsehood. I will also strip your skirts off over your head, and your shame will be seen. Your adulteries and your nayings, the lewdness of your fornication upon the hills, in the field, your detestable things I have seen. Woe to you, O Jerusalem! How long a time will you still not be clean? Jeremiah. Chapter 14. The word of Jehovah that came to Jeremiah concerning the drought. Judah mourns, and her gates languish. In black they mourn on the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem goes up. And their nobles send their servants for water, they come to cisterns, and they find no water, they return with their vessels empty, they are ashamed and confounded and cover their heads. Because the ground is cracked, for there has been no rain on the earth, the farmers are ashamed, they cover their heads. For even the hind in the field gives birth and abandons its young because there is no grass. And the wild asses stand on the bare heights, they pant after the wind like jackals, their eyes fail, for there is no herbage. Although our iniquities testify against us, O Jehovah, act for your name's sake, for our apostasies have become many, we have sinned against you. O hope of Israel, its Savior in a time of distress, why should you be like a sojourner in the land, like a traveler who turns aside to lodge for the night? Why should you be like an astonished man, like a mighty man who is unable to save? Yet you are in our midst, O Jehovah, and we are called by your name, do not leave us. Thus says Jehovah to this people, even so they have loved to wander, they have not restrained their feet. Therefore Jehovah has no delight in them, now he will remember their iniquity and punish their sins. And Jehovah said to me, do not pray for the welfare of this people. When they fast, I will not listen to their cry, when they offer up a burnt offering and a meal offering, I will not accept them, but by sword and by famine and by pestilence I will consume them. And I said, Ah, Lord Jehovah! Indeed, the prophets say to them, you will not see sword, nor will you have famine, for I will give you assured peace in this place. And Jehovah said to me, The prophets prophesy falsehood in my name, I did not send them or command them or speak to them. They are prophesying to you a false vision and divination and a worthless thing and the deceit of their own heart. Therefore thus says Jehovah concerning the prophets who prophesy in my name, although I did not send them, yet they say, A sword and famine will not be in this land, by sword and by famine those prophets will be consumed. And the people to whom they prophesy will be cast out into the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and the sword, and there will be no one to bury them, their wives, and their sons and their daughters, and I will pour out their own wickedness on them. And you shall speak this word to them, Let my eyes run down with tears night and day, and let them not cease, for the virgin daughter of my people is broken with great brokenness, a very grievous wound. If I go forth into the field, look, those slain by the sword, and if I come into the city, look, those diseased with famine. For both the prophet and the priest will go about in a land that they do not know. Have you utterly rejected Judah? Or does your soul loathe Zion? Why have you stricken us so that there is no healing for us? We looked for peace, but no good came, and for a time of healing, but there was terror. We acknowledge, O Jehovah, our wickedness, the iniquity of our fathers, for we have sinned against you. Do not hold us in contempt, for your name's sake, do not dishonor your throne of glory, remember and do not break your covenant with us. Are there among the vanities of the nations any that can bring rain, or in the heavens any that can give showers? Are you not He, O Jehovah our God? Therefore we wait for you, for you have made all these things.